Teeth are the only exposed bones in the body, and just as if a bone breaks, it'll heal, teeth can heal. Holistic Dental is a book written by Nadine Artemis. And Nadine Artemis, she presents some fascinating things. She looks pretty much at what I've looked at here, but she goes a little bit further with the teeth, which are the only exposed bone in our body, and they should not be deteriorating. And if they do have a little decay, they have the ability to heal themselves, as every other body tissue does. So why aren't they healing? Maybe they haven't been given the right times, or they have not been given the right conditions.
Are you tired of constantly hearing bad news from your dentist? Well, you aren't alone. Millions of people struggle with tooth decay every year. In the United States alone, about 90% of adults over the age of 20 have had at least one cavity in their lifetime. Around the world, cavities remain one of the most common oral health problems affecting both children and adults. But what if I told you that it's actually possible to avoid getting another cavity ever again? Tooth decay doesn't just happen overnight. It's the result of a specific chain of events that starts with the food you eat and how you care for your mouth. So how do you keep your teeth strong, clean, and cavity-free for life? Stay tuned as we break it all down in simple steps anyone can follow. Before we begin, take a moment to comment below and let us know where you're watching from. Also, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Let's jump into it.
And she calls these two superfluids. So what are your two superfluids? And these two superfluids are constantly bathing the teeth and nourishing the teeth. One is the internal. So the internal fluid would be your blood and your lymph. And remember what the lymph does, it sweeps away waste from the tissues. And remember what the blood does, it comes along with the nutrition, it comes along with the oxygen, it comes along with the water, the white blood cells. So this internal fluid is bathing from the inside. And your external fluid is your saliva. Now both the internal fluid and the external fluid, their quality is totally dependent on fresh air, sunshine, not taking anything in that will harm it, going to bed early, exercising every day, having a nourishing diet, having food that has the quality, the ingredients to build a healthy body, drinking adequate water. If you don't drink adequate water, that saliva does not have the ability to bathe, soothe, nourish and heal. And also trust in divine power. Why trust in divine power? Trust in divine power takes into consideration stress, takes into consideration the spiritual, emotional and mental aspects of disease. Stress inhibits healing. Stress, worry, anxiety interrupts with all body processes. And I think that's not a surprise to anyone. So we need to be sure that our internal and external fluids are of the top quality to allow our teeth to heal. But something else is causing teeth to deteriorate, and that is food caught between the teeth. As one dentist said, only floss the teeth that you want to keep. And I'm going to take your minds way, way back to another lecture where I talk about the true cause of disease. And remember I talked about whenever damage happens, our own microorganisms can change into bacteria and become the cleanup team. Well, when food is caught between the teeth, it basically starts to rot. So what happens then is what causes it to rot is in that moist environment, you've got so many microbes in your mouth, they're coming along to clean it up. And as the bacteria and the yeast start to break down that food between the teeth, they give off a waste, and that waste has the ability to start eating away at the enamel on the teeth. So make sure after every meal you rinse your mouth. Rinse your mouth very well. You can rinse it with seawater. You can rinse it with a mixture of sodium bicarbonate water and floss those teeth. Keep them clean. Wow, won't we save a fortune not having to go to the dentist because you're keeping your teeth clean, especially before you go to sleep at night, because by morning, wow, those microorganisms have had a party in there. And they've been able to have a lot of food in between those teeth, and they also have the ability to damage those the dentine that covers the teeth. So very important to rinse, very important to floss. In fact, both of these are even more important than cleaning with a toothbrush, but also oil pull. What's oil pulling? So oil pulling is using coconut oil. It's putting the oil in your mouth and it's swishing. You swish, swish. You might swish for 10.
Understanding the causes of cavities. Dental cavities have been a common problem for many generations, and information on avoiding them has been passed along without always being scientifically rigorous. The development of cavities is directly related to the interaction of certain foods with the natural bacteria found in the mouth. In many cases, sugary substances that remain on tooth surfaces serve as nourishment for bacteria, which subsequently produce acids that erode even the hardest dental material. The term cavity itself is derived from a Latin root that means to decay, indicating the process of deterioration within a tooth. It is particularly surprising that decay can occur in enamel, a substance that is more resilient than many common metals, as a result of the chemicals produced during fermentation on its surface. Historically, many dental issues have been accepted as a normal part of growing up, with little emphasis placed on prevention beyond simple cleaning. However, advancements in dental research have revealed that even small amounts of sugar and starch can trigger significant acid production by bacteria, leading to the gradual breakdown of tooth structure. Research indicates that when sugars and refined carbohydrates remain on the teeth, the resulting acid buildup sets off a process that can eventually lead to extensive decay. This decay not only weakens the enamel, but also opens the door for further bacterial infiltration deep into the tooth. Recognizing this chain reaction is crucial in understanding why early intervention and strict dietary guidelines are necessary for long-term dental health. The causes of dental cavities are not isolated to improper brushing or insufficient dental visits alone. They also involve the chemistry of the mouth. The process begins when residual sugary foods left on the teeth attract bacteria. These bacteria then metabolize the sugars and produce acids as byproducts. Even when healthy individuals follow regular brushing practices, the persistence of sugar residues can eventually disrupt the balance within the oral environment. The origins of the term cavity remind observers that decay is an ever-present risk, highlighting the need for both habitual care and modern intervention methods. This knowledge comes not only from the guidance of professional dental associations, such as the American Dental Association, but also from historical insights that reveal how common diet-related practices have influenced dental health over decades. The impact of diet on dental health. A large component of dental decay originates from dietary habits, especially those involving high consumption of sugars and starches. Foods such as sweetened beverages, candies, and processed snacks provide an ideal environment for the bacteria residing in the mouth. These bacteria feed on the carbohydrates and convert them into acids, leading to an environment where enamel erosion becomes inevitable over time. Notably, carbohydrates in many staple foods such as breads, pasta, cereals, crackers, biscuits, waffles, and pancakes often provide a similar substrate for bacterial fermentation, further complicating the overall impact of diet on dental health. Substantial evidence shows that not all carbohydrates are created equal, and the timing and frequency of consumption play important roles. When a diet consists of frequent small intakes of sugar and starch, it creates a constant feeding opportunity for acid-producing bacteria. This persistent exposure to sugar not only leads to a continuous cycle of acid formation, but also minimises the natural recovery period that the mouth requires to neutralise the acidic conditions. In addition, regulatory bodies and dental experts have long stressed that for a meal to be considered well-balanced, it must include whole grains and other components that help maintain a stable metabolic profile. A balanced meal should ideally complement proper oral care practices and minimise the risk of acid accumulation. Dietary guidelines proposed by numerous health and dental organisations focus not just on the reduction of sugar intake, but also on the importance of other nutrients that help in overall bodily functions. One critical aspect is the role of vitamins and minerals, such as vitamin B1, thiamine, magnesium, and zinc. When diets contain excessive sugars and starches, the demand for these nutrients increases dramatically. Vitamin B1, for instance, is vital for metabolizing sugars, and its deficiency can impair the body's ability to manage carbohydrate loads efficiently. Without sufficient levels of B1, the body may not fully break down the ingested sugars, leaving more fuel available for bacterial fermentation in the mouth. Over extended periods, this deficiency contributes to a cycle of decay that exacerbates the formation of cavities.
But the healing of the tooth comes from the superfluids, the internal blood and lymph, and the external fluid. And again, their quality is totally dependent on the food you're eating, how much you're drinking, going to bed early. So all of these things. Sugar is one of the worst, because you know what sugar does? It just feeds all those little microbes that are breaking down the things that are caught between your teeth. So those sugary drinks are particularly damaging to the teeth. One of the best things to eat is an apple. Your teeth and your mouth need crunchy things. So with a refined diet today, there's hardly any crunch, have you noticed? But apples require you to crunch, and when you crunch, that is strengthening the teeth, it is strengthening the jaws, it is strengthening the gums. No wonder the old saying says an apple a day keeps the doctor away. So get used to crunchy things. Every day we should have salad. So at lunchtime we always have a salad. Celery is particularly good, and carrots at crunching in the mouth. Children love raw carrots. Cucumbers, all of those crunchy foods, they're strengthening the gums, strengthening the teeth, and they are also strengthening the jaws. This explains why breastfeeding is so important for children, for babies, because when babies breastfeed, it takes a lot of work to get the milk out of the breast, but that hard work that the baby does, it strengthens the jaw. It causes the roof of the mouth to form properly with that tongue pressing against it, and it gets that jaw ready for the teeth to come through. So when you look after your bones, you are also looking after your teeth.
Oral hygiene practices and the body's defense mechanisms. The human body is equipped with natural mechanisms to prevent decay, one of which is the production of saliva. Saliva contains various components that play a crucial role in neutralizing acids produced by the bacterial fermentation of carbohydrates. One important substance in saliva is sodium bicarbonate, which effectively counteracts acids and helps restore a balanced pH level in the mouth. In addition to chemical neutralization, enzymes present in saliva, such as amylase, also known in some circles by a name that refers to its role in breaking down starch, serve as natural defenses against cavity formation. These enzymes help break down complex carbohydrates, thus reducing the amount of substrate available for bacteria to ferment into acids. Despite these natural defenses, the modern diet often overwhelms the mouth's capacity to neutralize acids. Continued exposure to frequent sugar and starch consumption creates an environment in which the natural enzymes and buffering agents struggle to keep pH levels within a safe range. In such conditions, even the robust enamel may eventually succumb to decay. Dental health experts advocate for regular oral hygiene practices such as brushing, flossing, and periodic professional cleanings to assist the body's inherent mechanisms. Brushing and flossing are essential for removing food particles, thereby limiting the access that acid-producing bacteria have to fermentable carbohydrates. This routine, however, does not completely replace the need for improved diet management, which is fundamental for long-term oral health. Experts also note that the activation of specific enzymes in saliva is highly dependent on the pH balance within the mouth. For example, the amylase enzyme requires a neutral or slightly alkaline environment to function effectively. When the oral pH drops below 7, the activation of this enzyme is hindered, resulting in an increased opportunity for acid formation. Individuals can monitor their mouth's pH using accessible testing devices, which provide a simple way to understand if the natural defensive systems are being compromised. In cases where the pH is consistently below the optimal level, steps must be taken to modify the diet or improve hygiene practices. Regular use of products that neutralize acids, such as bicarbonate-based toothpastes, can supplement natural saliva and provide an additional layer of protection. In parallel with daily hygiene, dental professionals stress the importance of regular dental visits. Professional cleanings remove tartar buildup, a hardened accumulation of plaque that regular brushing cannot eliminate. Tartar itself is a breeding ground for bacteria, and once established, it can contribute to further acid production and decay. In many communities, dental health is emphasized not only for its role in maintaining a confident smile, but also for its wider implications for health. The prevention of cavities is often the first step in a broader campaign against diet-related illnesses. By using a combination of personal hygiene, dietary control, and professional care, effective protection against cavities can be achieved, providing a solid foundation for improved overall health. While brushing and fluoride treatments are widely recommended, other preventive measures have also found support in research. Dental sealants, which act as a mechanical barrier on the surfaces of teeth, are especially useful for areas that are hard to clean. Sealants can provide long-lasting protection by physically preventing harmful acids from reaching the sensitive structures underneath the enamel. Taken together, these methods support a multifaceted approach to oral health that includes natural enzymatic defenses, chemical neutralizers, and mechanically applied protective coatings. The result is a comprehensive system that works to minimize the impact of dietary sugars on dental integrity while reinforcing the body's natural safeguards. Implications for general health and dietary recommendations. The broader implications of dental health extend well beyond the mouth, touching upon overall bodily function and disease prevention. The constant interplay between dietary habits and microbial activity not only affects the teeth, but can also lead to deficiencies in essential nutrients. Diets high in sugars and refined carbohydrates place an excessive burden on the body's nutrient processing systems. As the acid-producing bacteria thrive on an overabundance of these carbohydrates, the need for specific vitamins, such as vitamin B1, increases substantially. When the demand for vitamin B1 exceeds the supply, the resulting deficiency can have multiple adverse effects throughout the body, including the nervous system, which may manifest as conditions such as restless leg syndrome. Moreover, excessive consumption of refined carbohydrates can compromise mitochondrial function. Mitochondria, the energy powerhouses of cells, depend on a steady supply of nutrients to perform effectively. When the diet is dominated by sugar and starch, the excess may lead to impaired mitochondrial performance and contribute to the development of chronic conditions, including cancer. The detrimental effects of such a diet underscore the importance of nutritional strategies that limit the intake of fermentable carbohydrates. By reducing the frequency of sugar consumption, the body can better manage its nutrient reserves while minimizing the harmful byproducts of bacterial fermentation. Modern dietary recommendations increasingly advocate for lower carbohydrate intake for various health benefits. Diets that focus on higher protein and fat content, such as ketogenic diets, have gained attention as potential strategies not only for weight management, but also for reducing the incidence of dental cavities. In diets where carbohydrate intake is minimized, there is less available fuel for acid-forming bacteria, and the oral environment can maintain a more stable pH level. The focus shifts from a reactive approach, addressing cavities after they appear, to a preventative model where the underlying causes are eliminated. Such a dietary strategy supports the overall objective of maintaining healthy teeth while also contributing positively to general wellness. Attention to general health through dietary management also involves educating individuals about the importance of balanced meals. A well-balanced meal in this context is one that includes whole grains, lean proteins, healthy fats, and limited amounts of refined carbohydrates. Rather than relying solely on external treatments like fluoride applications or dental sealants, long-term prevention relies on the proper management of everyday food consumption. By limiting the intake of sugars and starches, fewer substrates will be available for bacteria to produce harmful acids. This shift in dietary habits is seen as a critical move toward reducing both dental and systemic health issues. Data from historical documents and modern research alike have revealed that industrial interests once played a role in skewing public perception regarding the primary causes of dental decay. There have been revelations of associations between certain research foundations and influential organizations that aim to shift the focus away from sugar as the root cause. This reorientation led to an emphasis on measures such as fluoride treatments and sealants, even while the underlying problem of excessive sugar consumption was not fully addressed. The subsequent emergence of nutritional approaches that emphasize reduced carbohydrate intake offers an alternative perspective. This perspective is built on the notion that minimizing sugar and starch consumption directly reduces the cascade of events that lead to cavity formation. In addition to dietary modifications, there is also a call for increased education regarding the risks associated with high sugar diets. Awareness campaigns highlighting the benefits of lower carbohydrate consumption and regular dental care can play an important role in changing public behavior. Programs that promote healthier eating patterns have the potential to reduce the overall burden of dental decay and improve systemic health markers. Emphasis on the interrelationship between oral health and overall physical well-being helps to create a comprehensive approach to health management, one where the mouth is seen as a reflection of the body's internal state. If you found this helpful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more tips, and drop a comment if you have any questions or want us to cover something next. Thanks for watching, and keep smiling.